There's no one left to help you now.
I don't need anyone else. I have Ouroboros. In less than 5 minutes, we'll reach the optimal altitude for missile deployment. Ouroboros will be released into the atmosphere, ensuring complete global saturation.
Hi everybody, how's everybody's morning, afternoon, evening, and night? I just wanted to create this video to talk about the PlayStation Plus prices increase, so you guys know at a time, as well as voicing my own opinion about it as well, just to share my thoughts about this and whatsoever. And of course, I will put more information just down below the description, and as well as the pinned comments, so you guys can see the hyperlinks and everything else, linking to these articles and everything else too, and etc. So before I reach to the main point of the video, I wanted to start at the very beginning of the new PlayStation Plus debut, so you guys know ahead of time, and etc. And I'm at the PlayStation blog at the moment, just to do a little backtracking here. And of course, everybody knows about the PlayStation Now at that time, which, to be upfront with you guys, I never ever used PlayStation Now at that time, because to me, I don't really see the point of like cloud streaming, in my opinion, because having to have a drastic amount of constant internet connection to play the games online and seeing like lag and all sorts of things, it's not for me. Because if I wanted to dust out the consoles and handhelds, I just dusted out like the PS3, PS4, PS5, PSP, and PS Vita and stuff like that, and whatsoever. I just play like physically or digitally. You can play offline as well, so it's easier that way, without having to like rely on the internet that often to play the games. Unless if you have to patch like updates and stuff like that and whatsoever. And yeah. And then of course I heard about the news about the PlayStation Now merging with the PlayStation Plus. I thought to myself, that's pretty interesting. And of course it comes with the 3 options as well. Of course, with the essential, extra, and including the premium, of course. And let me just get my face out of the way for a second so I don't block the text or anything whatsoever. And of course, I happen to hear about the release date, and depending on the time zone, it was being released on the Asia markets, Japan, Americas, as well as Europe, as well as like different countries as well, included as well. I thought it was pretty neat whatsoever. And of course, I did take the time to check it out on release date, and I do have to say it was kind of okay at first. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty sure over time they'll be able to make it better over time, like a year or two or something. That's what I originally thought at that time, and etc. And then having a look at the essential tier, I kind of saw like 2 monthly games for free with subscription, discounts, cloud storage for your PS4 or PS5 games, all sorts of things. And of course, once you include like the PS3 and PS Vita, because if you still use those systems today, then if you're still like PlayStation Plus subscriber, then you should be able to use it most likely. And then having to look at the pricing for $10 for 1 month, $25 for 3 months, and as well as $60 for 1 year. And of course, once you include taxes as well, which people know, because depending where you are in the world, either in like regions, states, territories, provinces, and the list goes on. And then having to look at PlayStation Plus Extra, I thought it was a pretty neat tier. So you can be able to play games catalogs of like old games to the latest games as well, which I thought was pretty cool for your PS4 and PS5 games, which I guess they're trying to like try to get near the Xbox Game Pass sort of format, I suppose, which I thought that's pretty interesting. So I thought it's pretty neat tier, to be fair. Heard some good things about it. And then heading towards the PlayStation Plus Premium, on the other hand, I became a lot more skeptical. and as well as like having doubts about it too. And in fact, it has like the classic catalogs, cloud streaming, as well as the game trials as well. And then having a look at the PS3 section on there, on the premium section, which of course you have to, if you're like subscribed to the premium tier, you have to like, you can be able to play those games. Because my criticism, which I did in fact have created like a few videos from before, like weeks ago, talking about browsing the PSN Store part 1 and part 2, where I talked about the having like PS3 games, PSP and PS2 games on my download list on there at that time on my PS3 console and stuff like that, digital and physicals, all sorts of things. And once I include like the PS4 games and PS5 games, that was okay. So I did have to be quite critical about the cloud streaming aspect of the PS3 games. It's kind of rather skeptical in my opinion, because due to the fact that constant amount of internet connection to play these PS3 games seems rather silly in my opinion. It's kind of ridiculous. And then I tend to wonder that with certain titles of PS3 games, whether you have like the standard version of the PS3 game or even the Game of the Year edition, complete edition, and as well as definitive edition, wherever the heck they want to call it, which most of the time I just try to call like certain games that have like the base game and all the DLC. I just basically call it the all-in-one package specifically, so it saves the time and headache and whatsoever. And then I do tend to wonder that with these cloud stream game titles of the PS3 games, the question is, can you access the DLC? That's the thing. That's what I wonder, because I wonder if you can access the DLC for the cloud stream games. That's what I tend to scratch my head about that too. Because I was even going on my way to look at the game page of it too, to see if it's available, but I kind of don't really see it. So I found it rather strange in my opinion. And then heading towards the other classic catalogs like the PS1, PS2, and PSP games, which I don't really see the PS Vita games as well, which is kind of a little strange. But I guess they're still working on it or something. Who knows? And having a look at the PS1 games, which again I have to mention my PS3's PSN download list, which I showed from before in my previous videos, that I had throughout the years digitally. I was able to get like some of the games for free. Like I was able to like have some of the games got for free off the PS4 and PS5 versions, vice versa PS1 emulation, because I owned it through like the PS3 console as well. So I was like, that's cool. I got like a free upgrade for it and whatsoever. Like some I was able to get for free, and some I did ultimately decided to rebuy, which ranging between $7 and $14, again once you include taxes and whatsoever. And then there were a few games that I could not be able to access, because unless if I was able to subscribe to the premium tier, then I could be able to access it, which I had to be quite critical. That why is it that I have to subscribe in order to access that PS1 game, which is kind of silly. Like take for example, like a few games that were affected by it was like Resident Evil Director's Cut, where you have to end up subscribing in order to access that game, which is kind of a little ridiculous. And then I saw the same thing with Tekken 2 as well. And then ultimately, from since then and towards the present day, they're able to like allow you to buy the game individually for Tekken 2. So it was off the hook, so it's fine. Which again, I have to be quite critical of like of PlayStation for doing something like that, for locking away certain PS1 games to use a subscription of premium tier to do that, which is kind of silly. And then heading towards the PS2 games, which unfortunately I could not be able to upgrade from my PS3 games or PS2 games onto the PS4 versions of those PS2 games, which I had to ultimately had to rebuy them once again, which kind of sucks, but what can you do? And then heading towards the PSP games, I'm not too certain, but I guess this might be like similar to the PS1 section, I suppose. I'm not too certain, but probably have to wait and see what happens. And then heading towards the cloud streaming for the PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games. Excuse me. So the cloud streaming for those ones, I'm like, no thanks. I do not want that. And then as well as looking at the game trials over here as well, which is also locked away behind the premium tier as well. Like, why not like make the game trials available for the extra and the essential? Why is it that it's locked behind the premium tier? That's what I don't get. Because at least the good thing is that we have demos that are free. Because at least that way it saves you the time and headache. Because I find it rather bizarre that these game trials locked behind the premium tier. It's kind of silly. And then having to look at the pricing of the premium tier, in fact, it's a little more expensive. $18 for a month, for 1 month, and then $50 for 3 months. And then you have $120 for 1 year, which I think to myself is kind of rather overpriced, in my opinion. And then heading towards the main part of the video, heading towards right now, which I kind of was like do a little browsing here and there, news articles everywhere else, etc. And the one thing I just don't get is that why is these like websites always have the have not the option to have like dark mode? Like seriously, it's very bright. It's like bright as the sun. It's kind of ridiculous. So I did went on my way to head towards the news about the price increase as well. And it's very pricey, I had to say. And then having to look at the 1 year subscription for the essential, extra, as well as the premium, having to look at it. And then I'm looking at the $60 original price, and then getting bumped up to $80 for essential. And then the extra is getting like a bump increase as well, having to go from $100 to $135. And then looking at the premium, it's gonna be going from $119, well, $120 once I rounded it, of course, to $160. It's definitely like really crazy. And due to the fact that Sony had made a statement about this, where it said that this price adjustment will enable us to continue bringing high quality games and value added benefits to your PlayStation Plus subscription service, which I think to myself, that's a bit overkill. It's kind of crazy in my opinion. And then as well as like not just affecting like North America, but as well as like other parts of the world as well, which I'm not too sure about the currencies, to be fair, at like Europe and Asia markets as well as Japan. So I'm pretty sure somebody could correct me if I got the currencies wrong and stuff like that, like with pounds, yen, all sorts of things, and etc. Which I'm pretty sure you guys could correct me for sure, which no problem. So having to look at those ones, it's kind of pricey. And of course, I did have to mention that I'm from Canada, so you guys know at a time, which I'll get to it soon, because we're gonna get affected by it as well too, which is very much very pricey. So I went on excuse me, I went on my way to go to another news article as well, which again, I was hoping that they have dark mode, but I guess they don't have it, because it's a bit overkill with the bright colors and all that. So anyway, so I'm looking at the one in Canada right now. It's gonna definitely cost us an arm and a leg. It's gonna be torture. It's gonna be so nasty, to be honest. And then having to look at the essential for a 1 year subscription, it go from $70 Canadian to $95 Canadian as well, which is okay, the X factor. And then having to look at the extra from 1 year, from like $115 to $155. And then with the premium over here as well, it's gonna go from like $140 to at least about $190. And of course, once you include taxes as well, which is gonna be pretty nasty for us, to be fair. which I will ultimately will try to like calculate it as well, just before the end of the video, so you guys know at the time. Which I gotta tell you, it's gonna be very, very, very pricey. And of course, you see the same statements whatsoever. It's kind of crazy.
But wait, there's more.
So I'm gonna go to like the PlayStation.com websites, which I'm already logged in, so you guys know at the time. As you can clearly see right over here, I'm still like subscribed to the service, like mostly essential to be fair, just for like the monthly games and all that and etc. And of course, you can clearly see over here that you got like the 1 month, 3 months, and as well as the 12 month, which is the 1 year whatsoever. And the reason why it says January 22nd, 2025 was because due to the fact that my current plan of PlayStation Plus doesn't like take effect until like next year. So I'll still specifically will be paying like $69.99 plus taxes as well, which would lead up to $79.09 in the total price and whatsoever and etc. So basically, I previously have renewed my subscription for this year, and then heading towards next year of 2024 of January, it'll be like the same price, basically the $79.09 as well. And then heading towards 2025, which is gonna be like less than 2 years, that's when I'm gonna be paying the $94.99 sort of price. So it should be okay for now. And then I'm gonna go out of my way to try to whip out my calculator just in case, which I'm gonna try to reset the thing because I wanted to make sure to just like calculate it properly, just so I'm not like misunderstanding it or anything. So I'm gonna go out of my way to try and calculate the upcoming renewal for next year, and then eventually I'll get to the one in 2025 as well. So I'm gonna calculate the regular price, regular price specifically, original, and then I'm gonna calculate it with 13% tax. Oh, oops, 13%. It'll be $9.10. Let me see if I can clear it a bit. Just make sure. And plus it with that much, with 10 cents. So next year I'll be paying $79.09 as well. Okay, okay. And then heading towards the one for January 22nd, 2025. So we're gonna go for $94.99, 13% tax, $12.35. Just to make sure. Okay, we're good. $12.35. And this and that. No. 35 cents. It'll be about $107.34 for like 2025. And then heading towards the extra, and of course it gives me the option to upgrade it to, which I plan not to do that because I'm like, no thanks. And of course I'm gonna try to calculate the $154, of course, for 13% tax.
Wait a minute.
$20.80. Oh wait, I got it wrong. My mistake. I had to correct myself there. I didn't do it right. $154.99. 13% tax. So it's $20.15. So there we go. $20.15. Oh. And I'll just add it. And that would cost about $175.14 for the extra for people that are on renewing that stuff for next year or subscribing to it, whatever's happening. And then if I were to go to the premium, which this one makes me a lot more sweaty, unfortunately. So I'm gonna go out on my way to most definitely, oh, calculator. There we go. Calculate that. Oops. Multiply it 13%. So it'll be $24.70. 70 cents, and then put that in there, and oh wait, let me see. Okay, just making sure. Okay, so 24.70. 24.70. Guys, I'm a little bit sweaty about this one, but very sweaty. I'm just a little nervous for this one, so here goes. I'm a little afraid about the final result, so yeah, I'm getting very sweaty here. It's not looking pretty, but here goes. It's gonna be about $214.69, and I gotta tell you, yikes factor. Major yikes factor for the premium tier. Because this is why I said it's gonna cost us like an arm and a leg in Canada, because it's very pricey for us. It's nuts. Because I wish I was joking, but oh boy. Because the taxes and that stuff, it's gonna destroy us. Guys, at least the good thing is that I have an essential at least, which is fine. Because I have no intentions of ever upgrading to the premium or the extra, in my opinion, because too much for me, too expensive. Because with essential, even though it gets affected by this price increase, at least I get like the monthly games and discounts and stuff like that and whatsoever. And yeah, that's what I think in my opinion. Because I'd rather stick with essential in my opinion, because I know for sure like most would tell me to unsubscribe, but I kind of made the decision for myself because, you know, I like playing like console games and PC games and stuff like that. So just to let you guys know at a time. So I just wanted to voice my own opinion about this since we're almost near the end of the video, and I gotta say I am very disappointed in Sony for making the decision to make a price increase on the tiers of the PlayStation Plus, of Essential, Extra, and as well as Premium, which I find it rather like ridiculous and bizarre that they're willing to increase the price just like that, just because due to the fact that there wasn't enough like classic catalogs of games, because there's only like some of the games you see, but the rest of it is gonna be taking a while to get, because probably due to like some like licensing and all sorts of things and etc. All sorts of craziness. Yes, this is just my own opinion just to say about this, because I'm just rather disappointed that they're choosing to make it more like expensive to access like the great features and stuff. It's very pricey, definitely overkill. So I'm rather disappointed, but what can you do? Maybe there might be possibilities that people might make like petitions and whatever they got to do to convince them not to increase the price like that, and probably see what happens. I guess like time will tell, I suppose. And I think there is a possible chance that I may try to make like future video at some point if there's any updates about this, and probably see where it goes so you guys know at a time. And of course, more information just down below more down below the description, and as well as the pinned comments, so you guys can see for yourselves about the information that looked around the whole place, Google searching and all sorts of things, and etc. So I'd like to thank you all so much for watching my video, just to voice my own opinion about this, and I hope everybody has a very great morning, afternoon, evening, night, as well as staying safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.